What's up guys? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in the world. If you're a returning subscriber, then thanks so much for coming down and showing the love and the support. If you're a new subscriber, my name is Nick and today we're going to be talking about how to make your photos 10 times better. So today we're talking about how to step up your photography game, how to shoot those next level amazing images. I'm going to give you 5 tips, and these 5 tips will be composition, creativity, looking at your surroundings and not rushing the shot, looking at your histogram inside your camera, and shooting with others. Composition is a fundamental element of every single photograph. Without a good eye, without a great composed photo, there's no story, there's no emotion, there's no wow factor to a photo. So tip 1 is spend time on composing the photo right. Search for those leading lines, search for that great depth of field, that look into the horizon. Don't just go out and just snap a photo because you think it looks cool. Try compose the photo as best as possible. So like in this example of just a shot of Dirtledore, it's just a photo of a rock and the beach. Like, what are you exactly telling me? There's nothing really to the story. But if you take this example of the waves coming in, the long depth of field, there's much more of a story to it. You can see, wow, this beach stretches on for quite some time. Look at the rocks are kind of complementing the photos as well. The waves coming into the beach, it all gives a sort of like atmosphere of what it felt like when you were there. But also think about how you want to frame the image. Framing as well as composition are the 2 most important things in a photograph. So think, do you want it a bit to the left? Do you want it smack bang in the middle? If there are rocks like that photo I just showed you, do you want the rocks showing more? Do you want them less in the frame? Think about all those things, as well as thinking about how can I make this photo different to all the other photos. And maybe think about sense of scale, or think about adding stuff to the photos. So here I'm walking up to this sort of like seaweed looking thing, and I thought, okay, this might make a really interesting and cool photo. It's got a nice foreground to it. So just experiment. Look at your surroundings. Look at what what you have and what the place has to offer. It might or it might not work. So like as you can see the example here, this didn't work at all. The seaweed just looks completely gross. But if you're trying different things, if you're trying to add different foregrounds to your photos, look around you, look at how you can use the elements around you to make the best pictures possible. So instead of the seaweeds, you can put your foot into the ground and you can create steps. You can create steps to show that people have wandered onto this beach. You can show a different, you can add a different sort of vibe to the photo instead of just pointing the camera and shooting the landscape. So the composition can come in many different forms. You can have high angles, you can have low angles, you can have a tilt shift, you can have anything really, anything that your creator's mind can think of. But the most important thing is framing and composing the shot. So whenever you go out again, think first, how can I frame this creatively? Nowadays, places have been photographed thousands and thousands of times. As a photographer, it's your aim and your mission to show this place like it's never been shown before. Moving on to tip number 2, creativity. Creativity is one of the biggest assets that a photographer can have. If you have an insanely creative mind, you can create some insane and really amazing images. So again, look at your surroundings, look at where you are. How can you create a really creative shot? Maybe you want to have a different angle, maybe you want to tilt the camera a bit, maybe you want to use a fern or a leaf and then have something in the background like a house or something, or maybe you want to create steps in the sand to show that someone's walked in the sand, or maybe you want to use seaweed to illustrate that there's life on this beach, or maybe you want to take the bubbles of, just think as creatively as you can and make sure you shoot a photo at that location that has never been shot before. Give it your own twist, your own unique style. This leads us to tip number 3. As exciting as it might be to get to a new location, sometimes you just want to go out, you just want to snap, snap, snap away, right? But do not be this person. One mistake that I made when starting out was I just wanted to get thousands of shots, and I didn't think about the other 2 rules that I just mentioned, which was creativity and composition. I just went out, just snapped away, and I didn't really think about anything. I just thought, oh, this is such an awesome place, I just want to get as many photos as I can, but without realizing that all these photos are just a bunch of random photos in a cool looking place. So next time when you get out to your location, as exciting and fun as it can be to just snap photos away and try to get the best possible photos and just get as many photos as you can, think about your surroundings. Take a moment to take in your surroundings. If it's a beach, then just walk up and down the beach for a bit. If it's a forest, then look around the forest. Get familiar with the elements and the things you have at your disposal. So before you take any shots at all, take at least 5 to 10 minutes and look around. Look at what you could use to create that shot. And once you're familiar with your elements, once you're familiar with all the things at your disposal, then you can start creating really awesome compositions, and that's when your creativity will get to work. Now this leads us to tip number 4. Always look at your histogram. Here we have the traditional histogram, which looks like a hill. So this shows the highlights on your left, the midtones, and the shadows on your right. Highlights meaning the lightest parts, midtones, and the right, the shadows, the darkest parts of your photos. If you have a hill looking thing on your histogram, then that shows that your photo is correctly exposed. That shows that you've absolutely nailed the exposure. You might think that when taking a photo, yes, it's really well exposed because on the LCD monitor that you looked at, it actually looks quite decent, or you think, oh, it's a little bit too dark, but it's not too bad. But in actual fact, if you look at the histogram, it might be way too overexposed and the whites are just all the way, you know, all the way up, and it's kind of like on your left the whites are all the way up, and then it's sort of like a L looking shape. That's not what you want. You don't want too much on one side, you don't want too much on the other side. So always look at the histogram after you've taken the photo, just to get a good indication of how well exposed your photo is. That will save you so much time when it comes to the edit, where you don't have to bump down the shadows or bump up the shadows to, you know, either make it darker or make it lighter. If you have a really good exposed photos, then it saves you so much time in the edit and you don't have to worry about tweaking it further. Tip number 5 is shooting with other people. One thing that I never did a lot was shoot with other people. I always just like to go out myself and shoot for myself. But the thing is that if you shoot with someone else, you can actually learn so much from them. It's two creative minds coming together as one. So he or she might shoot something that you never thought of, and that can create a spark in your creativity. It's also nice to just have a companion with you whilst you're shooting. You can talk about different photography related things, and you can talk about different settings in your camera, how he got that photo. Maybe you can give each other tips on the photos, and so on and so forth. It's just always great to have a companion when you're taking photos, and the more you do it, the more people you meet, which might then in return turn into a friendship or other paid work. But most importantly, it'll help you with your creativity, and it will help you become a better photographer. If you see a huge hill or a huge ledge, then go explore that. Photography, especially landscape and travel photography, is almost 80% of exploring. If you don't go explore the place, you won't know what kind of shots you can end up with. If you just stay in that same one spot, get 1,000 shots of the same one spot, sure, you can have awesome shots, but you will have missed out maybe another 2,000, 3,000 or 4,000 shots of different places. So go explore, go onto different heights, try to get different perspectives and different viewpoints of the same location. So remember those 5 tips: composition, creativity, looking at your surroundings and taking time before you shoot, the histogram, making sure you look at the histogram, and shooting with a friend or anyone who's in the photography industry. That's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video as much as I've had fun making it. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and don't forget to turn on the bell so you don't miss any new videos that I'm posting up. And I will see you next week. I don't have anything to throw at you, so by adding a different foreground to the photo, like the touch of like the seaweed or anything that's inside your what? Again. Hit that subscribe, smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any next. I can't do it. I cannot do it. Okay.
Okay, ready?